let's give everybody just a few seconds to sign on. This is what I'm calling the Coronavirus Distinguished Lecturer Series. And today's distinguished lecturers are Aaron Tillinger with Wells Fargo and Michelle Stenson with New York Life. And today we're going to talk about investments and insurance and basically risk. Is now the time to go all in the market? Is it the time to pull your money out? Is it time to buy life insurance? So we're just going to hear from the experts on this. And we've gotten some questions in advance, and we'll take questions live if anybody has any. But before we start, I just want to clarify that nothing that we say here today is legal or investment advice. We're talking very broadly about a lot of things. So if you've got a specific legal situation or investment situation, you don't put those details in the comments section. Reach out to us individually and we'll give you our contact information, because we can't know all the details of your life and your investments and your risk tolerance. So this is just general advice. Okay, so now that we've got the disclaimers out of the way, I think we're ready. My name is Rachel Wilson, and my firm is Nest Estate Planning, and I specialize in wills, estates, and trusts. I'm a native Savanian, and I also teach wills, estates, and trusts at 2 local universities. And this webinar series is my small way of trying to help small businesses while we're all staying at home, so I hope you find it useful. Michelle, would you introduce yourself and tell us what you do? Oh, hold on. There you okay. Start over.
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Stenson. I'm a local life agent here in the Savannah office. I work with small families, big families, small businesses, large businesses, helping them create a life plan for themselves and their family, their businesses, their partners, and their legacy for when they're either going to be retiring or working with their families on the other side of what they would like to see for them.
Nice. Aaron, how about you?
Well, Aaron Tillinger with Wells Fargo Advisors. I'm actually a native of Savannah as well. And I am what I like to call is a goals-based financial advisor. So I work with my clients to help them establish their goals, and then we determine the best path to help them meet that.
Great. Okay, so I've got a few questions here. I'm going to start with Aaron. Aaron, I am hearing some people say to just dump all of your money in the market right now because it's hit bottom and it can only go up. So what is your take on that investment strategy? Has it really hit bottom? And how do we know?
Well, there's no way we can actually know. On February 14th of this year, the market was sitting at approximately 29,400. And when I say the market, I mean the Dow Jones Industrial Average. On March 23rd, so a little over a month later, it was at 18,591. That's a 37% drop. Okay. Since then, it has come back to 24, 25,000. But then today, we're back in the 23,000 range. So to say the day the market is going to have bottomed out, if you have that ability, you have that crystal ball, I would like to meet you because I can make everyone rich. Unfortunately, I have not met that person, and we don't have that technology. So the idea of just throwing everything in because we've hit a low number without a goal, which is something I'll come back to every time, just doesn't make sense. You have to have a goal, and then you have to have a strategy to how to meet that goal, because the market is made up of thousands of investment options, whether they're stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, bonds, cash alternatives. Then you can get into commodities. So without having a clear-cut plan, throwing your money into something without a strategy is, I say it's going to Vegas and you put it all on a number on the roulette table and see what happens. And that's really not a way to, secure your future.
So I do have the chart that you sent me.
Okay.
So if you're ready to put that up, I'll put that up.
That would be perfect because it's going to illustrate exactly what I'm about to talk about.
All right, let me hide myself.
I see Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Aaron. Did we lose her?
I hope not. She's
No,
running.
I'm here. I'm just trying to share your trying to share the screen. So That's not working out for me.
Okay. Well,
So
I
I'll get it up there in a minute.
okay. If not, I can actually just tell you and our audience what this chart was going to look like.
Okay.
It is a 25-year history of the overall market broken down into sectors and areas of. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
There you go.
So each one of those different colored boxes is the different sectors of the market or different areas that we put groups of stocks into, whether they're large cap value, large cap growth, whether they're emerging markets, whether it's commodities, whether it's fixed income and bonds. And if you look at that, there's very little rhyme or reason. What is at the top one year, it could be at the very bottom next year. But there is a small pattern. Actually, it's not a small pattern, it's the most obvious pattern throughout. Those white boxes that skim right through the middle from every year, no matter where we are, they're never at the top, never at the bottom, is a portfolio that is blended of all of these different style boxes or different sectors of the market into a overall portfolio that in this case is considered moderate growth in income, which would be approximately 60% equities, 40% fixed income across all sectors of the market. And what you see there is it's never going to be your biggest winner, but more importantly, it's never your biggest loser. And on average, it has outperformed the majority of the market. If you look at that very far in column, it is number 5 down the box, and that's going back 25 years. So crafting a well-built portfolio helps clients weather markets like this. I can tell you by looking at my own book of business and my own clients, none of my clients have seen the full down pull of the market, and they have bounced back much faster than the market itself. So it is a way to have a expertly crafted portfolio to guide you through. But everything evolves around the individual. Go ahead. I was going to say everything evolves around the individual investor, their goals, their time horizon, which means when is it you need the funding to meet your goals, and how much risk you're willing to take. So once we use all of those parameters, you can have a portfolio that is going to be developed and devised to help make sure that you are going to get to your goal no matter what the markets are doing, because this is a short-term event in the overall history and scheme of things.
Well, frankly, looking at that white line makes me a little more comfortable. I like that. I like that it's in the middle, and so this is what balance looks like.
Exactly right.
Okay, so let me see. I had another question for you. Do you have any expectations that you can share on how fast you think the market will rebound?
That's a great question, and you could get 1,000 advisors, analysts, bring them all together, and you will probably walk out with 1,000 different opinions. Before this week came, we thought in some circles that, gosh, we've really already seen the bottom. So when we hit 18,000 back around March 23rd, we were at the bottom. And some people said, gosh, that's it. Well, because we're dealing with a non-economic event, we're dealing with a virus that is, while serious and widespread, it's turning out to be less deadly than expected. But because of the abundance of caution that our country is taking and other countries around the world are taking to minimize the impact, we can't foresee exactly what's going to happen. So as we're getting reporting from companies as they're coming out saying what their earnings are, housing market reports came out today. Those numbers have been decimated, but we always expected that. However, what it's going to take to get our country back up and running and businesses back to full volume again is something that we just don't have an answer to. We're trying to see what other states are doing. Georgia, of course, is, as of today, starting to open. We don't know how that's going to work out, and there are going to be setbacks. So I wouldn't say that everything's behind us. I'm certainly not a scientist, but I think that if somebody's looking to dip their toe in the water and start looking for a chance to move forward, waiting until the market's fully recovered is going to be, right now everything's on sale. If you wait for everything to go back to full price, well, you miss the boat.
Everything's on sale. I like it. Okay, my last question for you is, if somebody had a chunk of money right now, what should they do with it?
I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record here. You have to have a goal. You have to know what you're going to do. Talk to a financial professional and say, and help them. They'll help you determine what your goal is. And then, with a very methodical and well laid out plan, you'll invest towards that goal. The idea of picking a single stock or a single fund is, and trying to get maybe rich quick, is not a way to go. It's a surefire way that there have been more losers than winners in the market. So having a goal, having a plan that is based on that goal is a much more sound, solid methodology. And so that's my advice.
We're all looking for that magic answer, but there are no magic answers, especially right now. Uh, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna I'm gonna bring Michelle back in. There she is. Okay, so Michelle, I've got some questions for you too.
Oh, great. That was a lot of great information, Erin.
Glad to help.
Okay, so the panic shopping for coronavirus planning does not end with food and water and toilet paper. A lot of people are also panic shopping for life insurance. And I've read several articles recently that even though life insurance, as well as estate planning, which I well know, sits at the bottom of most people's to-do list, in the past 3 months, life insurance applications for Americans are up between 30 and 50%. So, Michelle, have you seen this in your own business?
I have, yes. It's been a wonderful eye-opening experience, I think, for a lot of families to now have the time to pull those the old documents out, see where they're currently um, covered. They think they're currently covered, and then also to see where they're currently not covered, and items that they have let expired or lapsed. Um, they're seeing now a little bit more. Taking that fine-tuned comb to their checking account and realizing what those automatic payments, what they're really going towards, and what's really the value that their family are receiving back from them. And they're just able now to have the mindset to have these kind of conversations. So it's been wonderful, because that's what we go to work every day to do, is to be able to provide for these wonderful people we've been stuck in the house with.
Well,
No.
I hear some people saying that, they're looking at their account and they're seeing their life insurance coming out of their account, and they're wondering, is that something that they really have to have right now, or is that an expense that maybe they could trim if things are feeling tight?
Well, I do say, for one, talk to your agent. If you have a local agent, contact them and see what that company is offering right now, for current clients that are dealing with corona issues, or lack of job, or being furloughed, or any of those events that are not to their doing. So call that agent, speak to them. A lot of companies are offering 3 months of deferment, or they're
Wow.
offering 3 months of payments that can be deferred later on, and then you work with that company. So if you are finding yourself in that position, just before you cancel anything, call and speak to that representative or your agent. It's always wonderful to work with a local person and agent that you can actually have a relationship with, so that that person understands where and what your goals are, and they can, relay those messages accordingly.
So if you don't have life insurance, can you tell us what we need to know about getting life insurance? I know there are several different kinds. How do you choose the best one for you?
Well, we always ask individuals, or I always start asking individuals, what are your goals if you didn't come home today, what events, bills, you know, items, things are completely dependent on you. What do you bring to that family that if you did not come home tonight would be devastating for that family till they could get through the grieving process and find their way back with you no longer being there? A lot of times you hear individuals say, well, I am the sole breadwinner, but I can't afford a 30, 40, $50 a month life insurance policy. Well, in that case, then unfortunately, you also can't afford to die, because life and burying someone is very expensive. We see a lot of that times too, that just the cost of a funeral will put a family in a poverty type of situation for some time. It'll set that family back, and that's nothing that you're working every day to have happen to your family should you not come home. So have that conversation, sit down with someone who understands your budget, understands that you need something in place, and find a product that will allow you to grow in the product. Where you are financially today is not where you're going to be financially in 2 to 3 to 5 years from now. But have something in place now that has the options to give you to grow within that policy, to convert into a more permanent situation for your policy, and having that flexibility to have those conversations will lead you down the right path to being covered for you correctly for you and your family.
I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Aaron for his last question. If I had a chunk of money right now, what should I do with it?
If I had a chunk of money right now, I would speak to someone to get advice as to what to do with it. What are your goals? What do you want to see your money do to work for you? What type of return are you looking for that money? What company are you going to give your money to? We have a great example of a lot of companies right now that are doing wonderful things for themselves, their employees, and their customers. And so find yourself with a company that's showing proof that when things get hard and rough and tough, that they're able to withstand these situations. This may not be the last time we're in a situation like this. It may be for our lifetime, but our children and so forth. But find a company that is proven time and time again to always be here for its clients, its customers, and its employees, and then have the conversation. I can't speak that enough. Don't be scared to have the conversation. Don't feel ashamed to have the conversation. Have that conversation with a professional who will sit with you and your family and lead you down a path that will help you.
I'm bringing Aaron back in because I have some questions that maybe neither one of you specialize in, but you might have an opinion on. So, like you were just saying, Michelle, some of these companies seem to really be taking care of their clients right now. I keep seeing commercials for auto insurers giving back a portion of their premiums during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard about that? Do you know anything about that? How do we tell if we're eligible?
Well, my I don't do car insurance, but I've been with one company for my entire driving career, and they did do that. They gave back some of their premiums to the policyholders. I know, for instance, our company, New York Life, has sent letters out to individuals, clients, and let them know that they don't need to worry about paying their premium right now. And
Oh,
when we're on the other side of this, we'll pick that back up. But they don't want you to cancel your stuff. They don't want you to leave yourself open for any type of tragedy where you cannot recover from. So call your company, see what's going on, and ask them if they are doing something for their customers. I'd rather have a company like that that calls me and says, hey, we know things are rough, don't worry about it, than the company that I'm trying to reach and they're not answering the phone because, they don't want to have that month delay in their revenue. So it's important right now more than ever to be working with companies that are doing the right thing.
And I would just echo exactly what Michelle said. Every company is handling things in their own different ways. Every individual's situation is different. Make that phone call, reach out to somebody and get an answer. Don't just give up because you're frustrated or you just think that there's not a solution. There's always a solution
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. It's just a matter of finding the right place to get the answer.
Absolutely.
definitely. Um, Another thing I've had several questions from clients about is business interruption insurance. How does that work? And do you think the millions of business interruption insurance claims that have been made recently will all actually be paid out?
That's not an area that I have expertise in, so I'm going to defer to Michelle if that's somewhere she would like to go.
I don't have expertise in that particular area, but I do have expertise in making sure that you read your insurance contracts. And after, when you're in this world, you become a little insurance geek. So you're reading all of these things that are happening to customers and businesses, and it's just very important that you are working with a professional. You're working with someone. Unfortunately, the internet has taken over, but find someone that will give you the right answers. Know what your contract does allow and what does not allow for. Know your dates, when you are to file a claim, how quickly you need to file that claim. And so know these particulars about your contract. And that way, if you're eligible for it, if you're eligible for it, you have already put yourself in an advantage because you know what the fine print is saying.
And having a local agent whose name you actually know and whose phone number you actually have might
Yes.
also be helpful,
Yes.
right? It's good
And
to have
that
a
makes a big
relationship.
difference. Not all my policies are in one. My portfolios are diversified as well. And I've been able to actually call that person and have that comfortable conversation. And in a time like this, it just feels good. It feels good to be able to say, "Hey, Rachel, how are you? How are your family? I'm really worried about my month this month. I'm really worried about next month when I do get back to work and how I'm going to be behind." And then that person is relatable, and you will see how many great things come out of just being able to have that professional relationship.
Absolutely. Aaron, we have a really hard question for you that came from our Facebook audience. Are you ready?
Fire away.
Andre would like to know if buying oil is a good idea today.
As far as an investment, if you have a portfolio that oil would fit into, I think pricing is good. If you are looking at it as a one-time investment, the way that gets moved is in a very large scale. So when you're seeing the numbers about oil, things like that, first of all, they're talking about futures anyway. So yesterday's numbers of negative $36 was actually was a May and June number. And today oil's already back up into has gone up into the mid 20 range. So I think if you want to have access into the oil markets, there are some good companies that you would look at. But again, if it's not a overall fit into somebody's portfolio, just because it's making headlines for being super cheap doesn't mean it's the right move right now. Because unfortunately, oil is a global geopolitical priced of commodity. Right now, the Soviets or the Russians and the Saudi Arabians have been at each other, and they came to terms a couple of weeks ago, but they've never actually implemented the terms, which is why we've seen this collapse in oil prices. So that can change on a moment, and I would not make a singularity decision based on that.
That is very sound advice.
Yes.
Uh, any last words from either of you? Any last advice for our viewers?
I will tell you this right now. We will get through this. Okay. We are going to come out. We are going to be a strong economy. We're going to be strong people. We're going to be a strong nation. And you know what? All we can do is help take care of each other, look out for ourselves, look out for our friends and our family, and just make sure we're all doing what we can to make this place better. And we'll all be better off for it.
Well said.
Yes.
Michelle, how about you? Last words?
I agree with Aaron. We are going to get through this. Don't let fear take over. Just take your time. This is a great time for reflection. This is a great time for focusing on your next path when we do all get moving again. And things will get back to normal. They'll be a little different for a little while for some of us, but they will get back to normal. And that normalcy is something that we all look forward to. That normalcy is something we all look forward to, but it's also something that is going to be very treasured. And so I look forward to that. And I know I will have a new appreciation for all the little and big things that are coming. And this has just been a nice wake up call for all of us. And even though it's scary, I have appreciated it for the most part. And so looking at things with the glass full, rose color, it's going to help you get through this. And so take this time, love on each other, love your friends, and things will come back to normal. It's going to be okay.
Amen. Erin, how can people reach you if they have questions about investments?
Okay, well, Wells Fargo Advisors, my office is 912-921-3413, or email Aaron.Tillinger, which is AARON TILLINGER @wellsfargoadvisors.com.
Okay, great. And Michelle, how can they reach you?
I am Michelle Stenson. My number is 404-333-1183. Email is mstenson, and that's STENSON @newyorklife.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you,
See
Rachel.
you after all this is over.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye. Be well.
Yes.